welcome to another Lawn Fawn video. Today we are so excited to be introducing our Build-A-Birdhouse Die. This die set is so cute and so much fun, and it can be used for all different seasons. And we're going to be introducing our Build-A-Birdhouse Christmas add-on, which takes this cute little birdhouse into winter and Christmas, and it's so much fun to mix and match these. So let's go ahead and check it out. Here are all of the pieces in the Build-A-Birdhouse die set. And you have all these cute elements that you can add and decorate together. So here we have a birdhouse and then the little perch detail. We also have a cute little butterfly and some decorative flowers. We have a post for the birdhouse to hang on. We have a cute little bird to add, and then different styles of windows and the little string that you can hang the birdhouse from too. And this is the Build-A-Birdhouse Christmas add-on, which gives you all of these cute decoration options for the Build-A-Birdhouse. And you can see here that's an adorable string of lights, and these are two pieces that you layer together to create the lights. We also have some snow that you can add to the roof, and then some fun decorative elements with the stars, a bow, pine cones, and then a little leafy branch that you can layer together. So first up, we're going to start putting together the pieces from the Build-A-Birdhouse die. And here you can see this cute little roof that comes with it. And oh my goodness, it just looks so adorable as you start to layer these pieces on there. We also have the little base of the birdhouse, or like a little perch there, that you can layer on as well. And then we have all of these other cute little elements. So we have this little bird, and you can layer the wing right on top for this kind of 3D look, and it's really cute to put this bird in the birdhouse. Or of course you could add some stamped birds from the winter bird stamp set. This large circle here is meant to fill in the area behind the birdhouse there, so that's kind of the inside of the birdhouse, and that circle helps you easily fill that in. And then we have this post that you can put the birdhouse on, so it's kind of standing on the post in your yard or something like that. Then we have some different styles of windows. We have this little circular frame that you can add or not, depending on the look you're going for. We also have that little stitch circle, which can also be put inside of the birdhouse. So here you can see what that looks like. So instead of just having that backer circle on the back, you can also put this cute little stitch circle in. And then we have this fun little window that's just adorable. It has some little score lines there so you can fold the little doors. And this adds kind of like a cute little decorative and interactive element onto your card, because you could have a little surprise in there and you open the doors and look inside and you can see just how adorable that is. It's just so cute and sweet. Here you can see some more decorative elements. So there's this cute little flower, and you can layer them together to create kind of a more decorative flower like that. And then you can also add the cute little butterfly all around, depending on what season you're adding your birdhouse to, because this birdhouse can go for all seasons, and we're going to be showing you that in a bunch of cards in the video today. There's also this cute little heart that's one of my favorite things to add as adorable decoration right there. And of course, you could also hang your birdhouse from a string instead of hanging it from the post. So you have kind of the two options depending on the look you're going for on your card. You can also add the little die-cut bird onto your birdhouse, which is just adorable. And you can also decorate the top little area with the flower as well. The butterfly would look cute there too. So there's so many mix and match ways to use this. Now next up, we're going to take a look at the Build-A-Birdhouse Christmas add-on, and you'll see how to layer these together. So this is the Christmas lights, and I like to die cut this piece out of gray, black, or even that kind of like dark green color that Christmas lights have sometimes. And then you can add the little lights below, and I just love this kind of dual layered look because it gives you the little lights and also the perfect color for the string. We also have these cute little pine cones, which you can layer together for a really fun look too. And you can layer them on that cute little greenery. You can also add the little bow to the greenery too, and so these are lots of different ways to decorate the birdhouse. And here you can see what it looks like to layer the Christmas add-on pieces onto the birdhouse. So you can add the cute little string of lights. I mean, how sweet is this for Christmas? I love it so much. And then you can add the little snow to the top too, which just brings it into winter. And then you can use the greenery and the bow and the pine cones to use as a decoration onto the birdhouse to help bring it into the holidays. So you can use the bow on its own, you can layer the greenery underneath, you can add the pine cones. There are so many cute ways to layer this onto the birdhouse. So now that we've taken a look at the dies, we're going to be creating some really cute cards, and we're going to start off with a very wintry kind of Christmassy scene, and we're going to be die cutting this birdhouse from some white wood grain cardstock. And I love this wood grain cardstock for the birdhouse because it gives just that perfect texture for it that is just so gorgeous. And I'm going to be recreating a version of a card by Callie today. So thank you so much, Callie. And one of the things that I love she did is that she added some light gray ink to the birdhouse. So here you'll see I'm using the Lost Shadow ink, but any light gray ink would work. And I'm just inking the very edges of the birdhouse. And what I like about this is it gives it that weathered wood look that just looks and makes it feel so special. Now it's time to add some more decorative elements to the Build-A-Birdhouse. So we're going to be working on the roof first, and we're going to die cut that from some chili pepper cardstock. And there is something about creating these birdhouses that I just think is so much fun. I just love layering all the little pieces and kind of deciding what my little birdhouses are going to look like. So I've added some liquid glue onto the birdhouse, and now we're going to layer the roof on there. And I love the pop of red for Christmas. And then we're going to use the Christmas add-on and we're going to die cut some of the snow. And I'm going to be die cutting that out of some pixie dust sparkle cardstock. And this is my favorite to die cut the snow because it adds that kind of sparkly element. And so we'll add some liquid glue onto this piece and then layer that onto the roof. And you can see just how cute this is looking already. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to add some other decorative elements. So we've got this cute little window shaped frame here. And so we're going to die cut that little frame out of mermaid cardstock. And we're also going to die cut the perch out of mermaid cardstock too. And then layer those onto the birdhouse. We're also going to be die cutting that backer circle that fills in the opening of the birdhouse out of black licorice cardstock. And we're going to be adding some pine cones and greenery as well. And I die cut the pine cones out of kraft cardstock and the greenery out of both cilantro and noble fir cardstocks. And so now we're finally going to layer that cute little frame over top, and you'll see it just gives the birdhouse a different look. I mean, the possibilities are endless. I want to create like 100 different little birdhouses. And we're also going to layer the little perch there at the bottom. Then we're going to take that cute little bow that's in the set, and I'm just going to add some detail with a Copic marker to some of these die cuts. Not everything, just a few of them. I thought it'd be really cute on this little bow, and we're also going to be adding some marker elements as well to the pine cones just to give them some fun shading. But you don't necessarily even need to do this, but it just adds a little bit of extra. So I'm not going to do it on all the die cut elements, but just a little bit. So we'll add some shadow with the ink on the birdhouse, and then some marker details onto the pine cones and the bow. Then for the greenery, we're going to add some liquid glue and start layering this onto the birdhouse. And you can see how fun it is to layer these. And by doing the different colors of green cardstock, it's just going to give it a really dynamic look. So we're going to layer these two pieces like that. And then the lighter green one's going to go in the center. And you'll see just how sweet that looks. And then the bow is going to kind of tie them all together. And there's something about the red bow for Christmas that just kind of makes it feel so beautiful and special. And I just love how this is looking so much. And now we're going to flip it over, and I'm just going to add some tape runner all around the opening of the birdhouse. And then I'm going to layer that backer circle on the back here, and I'm going to do that. It's going to be some black cardstock, and I think that really is just so bold and beautiful. Now we're going to bring back that Christmas add-on again, and we're going to die cut the little string there from some narwhal cardstock, and then we've used the sparkle cardstock again for the lights, but I'm just taking a yellow marker and adding a little bit of yellow to the top of each of the little lights, and I feel like it makes it look like it's glowing and it feels so special, and I love adding color to the pixie dust cardstock this way. It just looks amazing, and so you'll see now as we layer the kind of actual string over top, it's going to almost feel like they're glowing Christmas lights, which is so pretty. We did all yellow here, but you could do multicolored lights, and I think that would look just stunning. And now we can take this little piece here and add it to the house. And I feel like I'm like a birdhouse decorator now. It feels like paper dolls or something. It's just so much fun to mix and match these pieces. So now that we've got our lights on there, we're going to add a little bit more greenery to the top to kind of balance out the greenery that we have on the bottom. And so we're going to be layering two pieces of the greenery, and then we're going to layer those cute little pine cones on top. And there's something about the pine cones that I just love so much. You can either hang the birdhouse from a string or you can put it on a post. And for this card, we're going to be putting it on a post. So I went ahead and die cut the post that comes with the set out of some brown wood grain cardstock. And we're going to add some tape runner to the top of that and then layer that onto the birdhouse. And oh my goodness, this is looking so cute. And one of the really incredible things that Callie did in her card is she actually ended up splattering white paint all over all of these die cuts. And that's what made it feel so snowy and so cool. So I just have have a piece of scratch paper right here, and I'm gonna take out some Copic white here, or some white acrylic paint would work. This is just what I happen to have. So I'm adding some water in there and then just mixing it around, and I'm tapping my paintbrush and adding splatters all over all of these little die cut elements that we layered on top of each other. And isn't this so pretty? This is where it feels so wintry and so special. I just love seeing all of these beautiful little splatters appear and just feels so snowy and cool. And now I want to add white splatters to more of my die cuts. Now the next thing that this birdhouse needs is a little bird, and there is a die cut bird that's included in the Build-A-Birdhouse set. And I've die cut him out of chili pepper cardstock, and now I'm going in with a black marker and I'm just tracing around his eye to make him look like a cardinal. And this was another really cool thing that Callie did that I thought was really, really awesome. So I just made kind of like a rounded triangle shape around his eye, and I just filled it in with a black marker, and you can see just how cute he is. And now I'm going to layer his wing on, and then I'm going to use some red markers just to add a little bit of shading on the bottom of him and on to the wing, and that's just going to make him feel special. Another way that I love to add birds to the birdhouse is using the winter bird stamp set, and Shari's going to be doing that in just a little bit, but the winter bird stamp set is a perfect match for this cute Build-A-Birdhouse die. Now I went ahead and flipped the bird over, and I die cut another bird out of black licorice cardstock, and you can use the wing from the bird to layer behind to fill in his eye. So I love that you can use the wing for two reasons. So I decided just to use black cardstock there to fill in his eye to really keep on with the cardinal look. Then I'm going to take a white gel pen and just add a little dot and a little line on the two parts of the little cardinal there, just to give him kind of just a nice bright white look. And I thought that would be enough to make him blend in with my snowy birdhouse, but I feel like he needs like white splatters as well. So I took out my white paint again, and I'm just tapping my paintbrush and adding little splatters all around him. And now he is this cute little snowy bird that we're going to be able to add to our snowy birdhouse. Because I had so many elements on the kind of perch area, I decided to just layer him right at the opening of the birdhouse. And look how pretty this is looking. Oh, I love it so much. And I'm going to set the whole thing aside to dry and start working on a sky here. So I'm starting with some salvaged patina ink, and then we're going to move into Salty Ocean, and then, oh, excuse me, Mermaid Lagoon, then Salty Ocean, and then Uncharted Mariner. And I have to say, this is a new favorite combo of us here at LFHQ. We are just loving this. It's just the most beautiful sky, and it's got this really great glow. And you can see I'm just going back and forth between the colors and just making sure they're all blended well together. Then I'm going to just take a spray bottle with water in it and spray on there, and then use a dry paper towel to pick up any of the excess water. And it's going to give us that blustery, snowy day look. And then, of course, I'm going to take out my white acrylic paint again and add my snow splatters to the background too, so that it goes along with all the snow splatters that we added to our die cut birdhouse. Next, I'm going to set this whole thing aside to dry, and we're going to start working on the rest of our scene. And for this scene, I'm going to be taking out one of my favorite new dies, which is the Spooky Forest backdrop, but instead of making it spooky, we're going to make it wintry. So we're going to die cut this out of some white cardstock, and then I'm also going to die cut the largest stitched rectangle frame out of some pixie dust cardstock, which is that sparkly cardstock to match our sparkly snow and lights. And I love that that frame fits the Spooky Forest backdrop perfectly. Now, for this forest, I didn't really want the grasses at the bottom because it's going to be a wintry forest, so I just took my scissors and trimmed them right off. It's that easy to take this spooky forest into wintertime. And there you can see just how cool that is looking. Then we can go ahead and take that beautiful sparkly frame and layer that right on top of our trees. Then I'll flip the whole thing over and add some foam strips all around so that it's going to have a nice pop on that beautiful blue sky that we created earlier. And once I added it onto the sky, I realized I had forgot something. I had meant to add a little stitched border of snow here. So I die cut some pixie dust cardstock using a simple stitched hillside border. And I went ahead and just layered it right behind there. I was able to pop up the foam because I had just added it. And so I'm going to add some tape runner to the back of this hill and then just kind of tuck it right underneath that foam, exactly how high I think it might be. You can see I have a little bit of extra on there, and I'm just going to use my scissors to trim it off, and no one will ever know that I forgot to add that snowy hill earlier, and it's still going to look really great. And I just love that sparkly snowy hill. It kind of adds to the idea that the snow has really built up on this ground. Next, I'm going to work on a sentiment for this card, and the Winter Birds stamp set has the perfect bird-themed sentiments for it. So we're going to be using Seasons Tweetings, and we're going to stamp that in some clear embossing ink on some chili pepper cardstock to go along with the pops of red that we have on our birdhouse. We'll sprinkle on some white heat embossing powder and just tap off any of the excess, and then we can take our heat tool and just heat this up so that we have a nice bright white shiny sentiment. Next, we'll take a sentiment banner die and line that up with the sentiment. We can hold it in place with some low tack tape and run it through the die cut machine, and we'll have this perfect, cute little banner to layer underneath our birdhouse. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to add the little post there for the birdhouse right in the center. And I'm going to add that on there and then layer the birdhouse because then I can decide on the exact height that I want the birdhouse to be. So I'm going to add some tape runner to the back of the birdhouse and I'm going to layer it on there. I'm going to actually put my little sentiment banner there as a guide first just to see what it's all going to look like. And then what I want to do is tuck the birdhouse under one of those little branches because I feel like that's going to help bring that whole backdrop kind of into the birdhouse. Then I'm just kind of taking a look and seeing how high up I want that birdhouse to be. And once I find the perfect placement, I can layer that on and just any of the extra of the post is hidden behind the birdhouse. Then I'll take some tape runner and layer it onto the sentiment banner and then layer that sentiment banner right underneath. And this is looking so cute. I am loving it so much. The next thing that this needs is a card base. So I went ahead and created a card base that's 5.5 by 4.25. We're going to layer some tape runner onto there, and then we can layer our whole beautiful card panel right on top. And now this card is all done, and I can't tell you how much fun it is to layer all of these die cut elements and create these birdhouses. It is just the cutest thing. Oh my goodness. I mean, look at this. It's so much fun. I love those splatters so much. And what I love about this birdhouse is it's gorgeous for Christmas with the Christmas add-on, but Shari is going to show you how to use it for spring and for fall. So take it away, Shari.
So to start my card today, I am cutting a spring flowers backdrop frame to go around my birdhouse. I just cut this from some white cardstock and I will be doing some Copic coloring to color in all my flowers. I am doing some simple coloring just with two different colors, some really easy shading, and I realized that my lights on my desk created a bit of a glare on the tops of my markers there. I usually try to pay attention to that, so I will put the colors that I'm using on the screen. So I did the little tulip shapes and the big flower in each corner in red. And the way I did this is I kind of picked the flowers that were the same shape and size and just made all those the same color. So those little ones that are kind of heart-shaped, I did in the purples. Then this size of that kind of daisy-shaped flower, I'm doing all of those in the yellow colors, and I will pull in a darker yellow or orange for the centers because I felt like it kind of disappeared a little bit. And then for the bigger flower of that same shape, or I guess I should say the medium-sized flower because the two pink ones in the corners are the large ones, I'm doing in some BG colors, so a teal color. And then that will leave all of the kind of leaves left to do in my greens. And I ended up pulling in another shade there just to kind of go between the two colors I had. And then finally, I'm going in with the green. And for all these, I started out with that darker color and then kind of blended out with the lighter. And I am not worried too much. If it looks a little rough, that's fine. On the die cut, they're so small you can't really tell, and it kind of gives it that cool watercolor look. Now I have some speckled eggshell that I'll cut this frame from, and then I also have this blue spiffy speckles paper that will be my background. This is the robin egg color. And I've just put that onto my card base. Then I can use liquid glue to go all the way around the frame of my flower backdrop. And then I'm just adding little dots of glue to the backs of the flowers and the leaves so that everything can be stuck down really well and nothing's going to get caught. Then I'll just line this up and stick that down. And then the speckled eggshell frame, I'll just use some liquid glue as well and trace all the way around and add that. And that finishes this off really nicely and covers up any Copic coloring that might have gone off the edge of the frame. Now for my birdhouse, I'm cutting the main body of the birdhouse from some fruit salad. I thought it would be fun to have a plaid birdhouse, and this yellow is a very pretty springy color. And I will be cutting that birdhouse from the yellow. You can see I've already done it once because I'm remaking a card that I had made previously. And I like to line up that plaid so that it is nice and even in the birdhouse. I've cut out all my other little pieces. I'll be using this textured blue for the bird. I just wanted to show that because it's kind of a different blue. But you can see all my pieces there cut out, and I'll just go over the cardstock colors as I go. So for the roof, I did use Kraft, but I'm adding a little bit of dough ink to it to kind of darken it up. And I like how it makes the details of this die cut stand out a little bit. And then I'll just layer this right on top. I did cut the base out of craft cardstock as well, and I'll go ahead and add that. And once I added that, I realized it kind of stood out because it wasn't dark like the top. So I'm just gonna fold over my paper and hit that with that same dough ink really quickly. Now the die does create this or cut this really big circle that you can layer behind the opening. I just left that as the regular craft cardstock. Then for this one, I did use the frame for the opening that has the cute little shutters that you can fold. This is just cut from some white cardstock, and I will layer this around that opening with some liquid glue. And then I'll add my little heart that I'm going to put right above the opening. I think this might be my favorite part of the die set, is this cute little heart to add. And then I also cut the string and the bow or the tie for the birdhouse string out of that same guava cardstock as the heart. So I'll go ahead and add the bow, but the string I'll add when I put this onto the card. Now for my little bird, I did want the eye to be black, so I'm just going to hold him in place, mark it with a pencil, and then just take a black pen and color in a black dot that will be behind the eye of the bird. I think on my original card I used some black glaze pen and filled in the eye so it was shiny, but you could do either way. And then there's also the little wing that you can layer on top. Now I did add some color to my bird, and to do this I pulled out my colored pencils and I'm adding some white first, and then I'll add a little bit of pink to the belly. And then I also pulled out a blue that was similar in shade but a little bit darker than the cardstock and added some detail on the top. And I think that this just really helps the bird look a little more three-dimensional and a little more alive. Now I can add that little string that I cut with the die set. This is how my birdhouse is going to hang from the top, and I'm just making sure this is nice and centered. I'm butting the top of it against that frame, and then for the length, it will just get tucked behind the birdhouse, so I don't have to worry about trimming it down or anything like that. I am making sure that my birdhouse is high enough to where I have room for a sentiment banner below the birdhouse. For my sentiment, I cut the smallest sentiment banner. This is from the Extra Sentiment Banners die set from white cardstock, and I am using a sentiment stamp from the Berry Special stamp set. This is the one with the mice and the strawberries that just says, "Have a happy birthday." It fits in this perfectly, and I stamped it in some Forget-Me-Not ink so it matches my cute little bluebird. I'll just add some foam squares to the back of this and then line it up right underneath the birdhouse. And then there is a little die in this die set that cuts this little butterfly. I cut a few of those from guava, sugar plum, and fake tan cardstock. And there's a little score line in the middle, and I just bent it up at that score line so that the wings of my butterfly are sticking up from the base of the card, so they're a little dimensional and not so flat. And then I'm adding these just around my card. I did add them to where the flower that's kind of the same color they're near, and so they don't stand out quite so much and blend in with the background. It's just kind of a fun little detail if you're looking really hard. Now for my glitter, I added it to the little heart on the birdhouse, to the wings of the butterflies, which actually makes them stand out slightly. And then I'm adding some just to the center of those flowers that have the center there. And then here is my finished card. I love that that little birdhouse can be used for any season. I think that it looks super cute in that plaid paper, and I love it framed up in these beautiful flowers. So I wanted to create a fall card with the Build-A-Birdhouse. I will be cutting the fall leaves backdrop from this piece of cardstock, but I want to do some ink blending first. This cardstock is some speckled eggshell cardstock, and then I'm just using the inside photopolymer grip mat from my stamp wheel to hold my cardstock in place. And then I'm going in with a bunch of distress ink colors. I just grabbed a whole bunch of oranges and yellows from my rack up here. I've got some spice marmalade. This is some wild honey. I'm just going in kind of haphazardly with these colors around the outside edge of this piece of cardstock. Next, I have some scattered straw, which is a bit of a lighter yellow. And this looks kind of messy right now, but once it's die cut, it's going to look great. And I'm just checking to make sure I'm pulling that ink in far enough to where it catches all the leaves in the die cut. Next up, I have some rusty hinge, so we're getting into some darker orange colors here. And then I have some ripe persimmon, which is like a really bright orangey color, which I think is really pretty. And then finally some fossilized amber. So this is like a dark yellow. And like I said, this looks like a big hot mess right now, but once I die cut it with this fall leaves backdrop, it's going to look great. So here is that finished die cut, and then I wanted to go in with a little bit of red. So this is some festive berries, and I just have a small blending brush tool. I'm just adding a little bit of that red darkness to just a couple of the leaves. I wanted even more color variation in this die cut. So I wanted to layer this over some favorite flannel paper. This is that hot toddy color, which is that like lighter teal green. And I think that this looks so good with these colors of fall as a background. So I've just trimmed a piece of the 12 by 12 paper down to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then I will add some liquid glue to the back of my fall leaves backdrop. And I'm adding just little dots of glue to all those leaves so it will get nice and glued down. And then I'll just layer this over top of that favorite flannel paper. Now I did want to add a frame around this, of course, to have that nice finished edge, but before I do that, I'm adding some gold splatters. So this is going to give me some gold flecks of shimmer, and I wanted it on the background as well as the leaves, so that's why I went ahead and adhered these two pieces together before I did my splatters. You get that kind of gold shimmer in the light. Then I can add my frame, and I cut this from some narwhal cardstock, so it is a nice neutral gray, and I think it frames this up really nicely. Makes those leaves pop even more. I'll just add this whole panel to my card base. And then I usually cut this part out of my videos, but I thought I would show you. You can see I have a lot of white kind of sticking out. So I'm just using a straight edge and a craft knife, and I'm going to trim that off so that it is nice and squared off, and I don't have any of that white peeking out from behind my beautiful colors. Now for my sentiment, I want to use that Scripty Thanks, but I'm going to use the hot foil plates to do this. And I pulled out this satin gold, which I think is really pretty. It's not quite as shiny. You can kind of see it's sort of matte. And I think that's going to look really great with those gold splatters in the background. So while my platform was heating up, I got my foil trim down, my piece of cardstock. And now that it's nice and hot, I can lay my foil with the pretty side facing the plate, then a piece of storm cloud cardstock, so this is dark gray, and then I will put my typing paper that I use for overfoiling in my two plates and run that through my die cut machine. Then I can remove everything, and when you pull off that foil, you get that beautiful foiled sentiment. I think this is just gorgeous. So because there are matching dies, I can line the die up and cut out that Scripty Thanks. and I'll have this really cool foiled die cut sentiment for my card. So now I'm moving on to my birdhouse. I cut the body out of speckled eggshell and the roof and the base there from the wood grain patterned paper, the coffee table paper from the Knock on Wood collection. And I'm just adding those with a little bit of liquid glue. I'm going to keep this birdhouse pretty simple because I have so much color going on around the birdhouse with those beautiful fall leaves. I did cut a piece of that dark blue favorite flannel for the inside of the birdhouse. I just thought that this would be a fun pop of color, and it will also go with that flannel pattern in the background. And then of course I have that little heart I can add. I cut that from some chili pepper cardstock so it's nice and dark red. Now for the post of my birdhouse, I cut this from some dark brown wood grain cardstock. So it's kind of hard to see, but it has that wood grain embossed into it. And I can just add that to the bottom, bumping the bottom of it right against the frame of my card. And then for the birdhouse, I will add that with some foam squares here in just a moment. I thought I better add my sentiment first so that I could get the placement of my birdhouse correct. So I wanted to add the sentiment along the bottom first. And I like that it overlaps those leaves a bit. And then for my actual birdhouse, I'll add some foam squares and just line this up on top of the post. I also have some winter birds here. They're colored blue with cute little fall colored scarves, so they don't always have to be for winter. So I guess these are actually autumn birds. And I'm just adding those around the birdhouse. I thought it would be fun to kind of put this guy sitting on the leaves on the side and then the little baby bird sitting on my sentiment. Now for glitter, I only added it to the little heart on the birdhouse. I thought that this card had enough kind of shimmer with the gold, and I didn't find any other places that I wanted to add those glitter accents. And then here is my finished card. I love how it turned out. I love fall colors and fall leaves, and I just think that these little birds for other seasons are just so sweet.
Oh my goodness, Shari, I love how you have brought this awesome birdhouse into fall and into spring. It is so super cute. And next up, we have some incredible cards by the design team. And this first card here by Tammy is so stunning, and I love how she brought the winter bird stamp set into the Build-A-Birdhouse. Grace's beautiful pastel birdhouse is so stunning for the holidays, and I love how she layered the birdhouse onto a slimline card too, and the winter birds are just so cute on this gorgeous birdhouse. Next up, we have the incredible card by Callie that inspired us to make ours. We added the spooky forest and she let her sky shine, and both are so much fun. This card by Maureen is just stunning. I love all of her sunflowers and how she brought the birdhouse into fall. And then here, Elena shows us that the birdhouse is a perfect match for our winter wonderland window, and I love how she layered 2 wings on her cardinal. This card here shows another version of adding the birdhouse into the spooky forest backdrop, and I love the flannel paper as the sky. And this card by Letitia is so pretty. I love the From Our Home to Yours sentiment with the birdhouse. This card by Lynette is so much fun, and I love the blues and reds together and how she layered all of the die-cut Christmas elements. And then here, Audrey created such a stunning background, and I love her beautiful winter birds on her Build-A-Birdhouse. Megan was also inspired by fall, and adding the squirrels to the birdhouse is the cutest thing ever. I love it so much. And here is a card that we made on the Winter Wonderland intro video, and this birdhouse is so cute in this adorable window. So we cannot wait to see all your birdhouses, so make sure to share it with us. Thank you so much for watching today, and I hope you have an absolutely amazing day. Bye!